tell us snoring. It's so funny because on TikTok and stuff, when I'll do those videos are much shorter too. And when people can hear her snoring, which is, I swear to God, sometimes you can hear her snoring over me talking. But, you know, people are always, oh, who's snoring? Who's snoring in the background? And the thing is like, that's my peace. Like, if she's not snoring and she's asleep, then she's not crying, and I have peace. So it was like my peaceful time. And I don't know, her snoring is kind of peaceful anyways. But okay, so my algorithm is still just like, I'm sitting over here. Let me turn this a little. So my algorithm is still just like totally weird. Like, but this was a blue-haired girl. It's always nice when you hear somebody with those progressive details to their character, when they start talking sensible truth and seeing. And so this lady, she was talking about somebody that she knew who had gone for an interview with somebody she knew. It was their person, like their sibling or their cousin or something, went for an interview to Facebook in San Francisco, and that this tech person who was on the interview was all excited because Facebook was not only going to provide them housing as part of their pay. So they had to be outside of San Francisco. I don't know, Facebook land. And then the Facebook has its own transportation. So they take you to and from work. And then, you know, they provide your food and stuff at work. You know, it's like Google or something. And this person was all like so excited. And the blue-haired person was like, oh my God, you tech people, have you ever even read any science fiction? Did you ever read 1984? Like, what is wrong with you? They have total control, and they're not even paying you a good enough wage to live in the city where you work. You have to live outside the city, and then you think you're getting some bonus, and then they're going to drive you. If they're going to drive you and stuff, like, how many people on your way home stop at the store? Like, you have things like that is your in-between time, is like when you're going from work to home is usually when you have to stop and get things, and then all of a sudden that's controlled. You don't have that opportunity anymore. And then they can force you on it at the hours, like you have to be there. So I don't know. I mean, I could definitely, like, I'm telling you, it's crazy how many of these people think like this 15-minute city is a good idea, and thinking like, oh, it's so hard to go to a grocery store I'm not used to. So hard to go here or there. People get so stuck in their routine. And then anything outside of their routine becomes uncomfortable. They don't want to feel uncomfortable. It gives them anxiety. They don't want to feel discomfort. And so it's like a complete changing in your attitude. It is, you know, oh, uncomfortable? Yeah, I'll try it. Let's go out and try it. Let's see. You know, and I totally get it. Like, I've gone to grocery stores that I'm not used to, and it is a pain. You're like going from aisle to aisle, circling back, going over here, you know, because for some reason all the grocery stores don't put their stuff all in the same places. And so a lot of times you're having to go and look all over, and it is a pain, especially because you can go into your regular one and almost be on autopilot. Just go grab your stuff. But see, that's part of the problem is, do we want to just be on autopilot? And do we want to just be reactive and not being, you know, in truth? And so, you know, it's so crazy how many, I don't know, it's just a lot of the videos I'm seeing is people talking about like, okay, so I'll just say some of the things. So, I don't know, in Miami, there's a lot of weird stuff going on. There's, I don't know, a pirate ship is headed in. It's got all these other ships or all these other boats that are kind of around it. And they're saying they're going to do something in Miami. And then you got this big helicopter, but you've got these other boats coming in. And plus you have this big storm that is over going through Texas and Memphis and Louisiana, which the way that the storm on the map looked, it looked like you know, like I could cut right into that map. It was like right in the area of the map. Every single time they show these storms that are right on the place that is in the doomsday map, which now they've changed the doomsday clock again, and they keep doing it all in this drama, huge thing. Now it's like 40 minutes till midnight. It's like, what does that even mean? Like, and why does everybody get freaked out? Like, let me think, because there was a bunch of other things. So a bunch of people saying, you know, about being prepared. And this one woman was saying you need to have like 2 months of stuff. And, you know, I don't know if you would need 2 months of stuff. Because still, even when I hear the people talking who are more aware, they're very like we're going into Armageddon. Like they don't see that is, they see that as like the end of things, you know. Oh, and I saw footage of all of these doctors in France going and laying their stuff down. Like they're not going to, they were all going and laying down. I don't know if it was their licenses or what, with their stethoscopes, and it was this whole thing with all these doctors. So, you know, they're not going to be being told what to do, or they're just like, fuck you guys then. And all these people are out protesting in the streets in France because they're telling them, you know, that they have to work until they die. They aren't allowed retirement anymore. And here we've got, you know, in Memphis, we've got complete crazy stuff going on. Like a whole bunch of places have got horrible stuff going on. You know, I said that all along, like there was going to be some places that are going to be horrible, really horrible, and there's going to be a lot of people who are going to die, a lot of tragedy, just a lot of tragedy. And, you know, I've talked about it so many times, you know, because you get all caught up in the 3D part of it, and it's like, oh my God, it's so horrible, it's so sad, it's so tragic. If you look at it from a spiritual perspective, then it's like, oh, okay, so they finished what they came to do. Good on them. Now they've moved on. They're doing something different. Now what am I supposed to do? And then energetically, because the energetic part, because the spiritual, when you look at things from a spiritual perspective, it's just to focus on, you know, your spirit, your purpose. Like, well, what would my soul be doing for all this? Like, what does it have to do with my soul? And then, which is very cut off from the 3D, because the 3D is all about control and you don't have a soul. And so then, but the energetic part is the part, and that is harder to explain because it is, it's energy, and it is paying attention to how it's moving and what is being, and right now it's all about exposing, and so much stuff. Oh my gosh, like so much stuff keeps coming out. What was that one I just saw that was oh, so many people are talking about Putin now. All of a sudden it's kind of clicking in, like, oh, he's the good guy. Like, and they all say it like, yeah, you know, I think he's the good guy. Yeah. Oh, and they're all braced for, like, they know they're gonna be attacked. And some of the attacks at this point, I'm kind of, because they're so over the top, and like even just seeing the comments that are being made on people, it is, I think that those are instigators. I think that's all set up. Like it's I even have gone in and looked at a couple of the pages. It's like, you know, there were 15 followers and stuff like that. Like these are just recently set up, I think, to just come in and attack us because they're so ridiculous. I mean, they're so rude. It's like it's bizarre. And that is another thing that people keep talking about, though, is like the rudeness is so crazy. And that's like, you know, I don't know. Some people would be digging in that deep for sure. But a lot of it, I think, is kind of pretend. It's like kind of like the obstacles that we have to overcome to keep going, you know. And then there's some of us, you know, like no matter what, we got to keep going, because if we even try and stop, they're going to come in and start. I saw this yesterday too. This was, I didn't watch the whole thing. It was just, it had popped up, and I just kept looking at it and going, I'm so curious. It was Linda Moulton. She was interviewing this girl who says she's an Anunnaki hybrid or something like that. And so she was asking her all these questions, and that is when I turned it, because this girl, I don't know, it was very strange, this conversation. Because Linda Moulton is, she's the journalist who started following the animal mutilations. And so she was just a journalist. Like, if you go and look up about her story, she was just a journalist. And then she got sent out on these animal mutilations. And so she's, investigating these animal things. She's talking to sheriffs. She's talking to all these different people. And so she started finding out a bunch of hidden information and what they were saying and stuff, what the cops were saying, what the army, like all of these people. And that is when she started, that put her into ufology. And so that started her whole thing. And so she's a whistleblower person on, if you go and look up anything with ufology, she's in that group. And like, there's been lots of different, what are those things called? Like when they go to a hotel and everybody goes there and they meet for 3 days. And I was going to go to one a few years ago, but I don't know, anytime I want to go do something like that, it just never lines up. But they would have all different speakers, like Corey Good, David Wilcock, Michael Sala, like a whole bunch of different people. But she would be one, Laura Eisenhower, Linda Moulton. So there's like a certain group of people that would go to all these different conferences and stuff and be the speakers. And she is one of those kind of people. And so she has, pretty big following or whatever. So she's interviewing this girl, and she was asking her some things. And so this girl was saying that the beings started communicating with her in dreams at 5 years old. And Linda kept asking her, well, what about this? And how'd you know this? And how'd you know that? And so I started speaking back, like I'm the one being interviewed, because mine was 3 years old. And it was obvious, like, I don't know, it's just obvious. Like, you knew you were talking to, at 3, I thought I was talking to angels and devils or whatever. I thought, no, I wasn't scared like the devil or something. I just felt like they're sitting there on one shoulder trying to coax you, like, oh. And then on the other one was the sensible, like, oh no, you better, just like in the movies, what I grew up on. And so then that's what I thought. But then as they kept talking, I know for sure, like I remember in my teenage times when they were telling me about us being in the zoo and the experiment and all that stuff. And, just from the very beginning of the time, like I knew aliens were real. I knew these people were talking to me and stuff like that. It's just that, nobody believes that. Like, it doesn't matter how many times you tell them, how many times you tell them what they say. Like, even now, like, I think at this point of my family doesn't watch my things, I think it's because they would think that they would be super embarrassed because I'm so crazy, But it's just because I've seen what they don't see. I see these things. I just always have. I've never lived in their doubt or whatever. And so, I don't know. I know that there's a bunch of people like me. I know I'm not the only one. And I know that there's other people, but it was just really weird. And sitting here listening to her ask her those questions, and I was like, I don't know. I don't know. It kind of, again, left me that feeling of like, man, I'm just sitting here talking and talking and talking. And it's like, I feel so muffled or something, so hidden. And I've been telling my guides, like, you gotta throw me a bone. You gotta throw me a bone. Like, you want me to keep going on this? You gotta throw me a bone. And then I'll be like, one follow. No, actually, I did get up in the morning, and I did have 38 new followers on TikTok, and I hadn't seen that in months and months. Like, because when it very first, like, every time that a video of mine will go, then it will start. That's why they just hold them all. Like, I can tell, like, they just hold them, and so but before, when it was like, I don't know, because that one, when I did that boomer one, and that was just going so crazy, but I could feel that one is where they were like, because everyone after that started having less and less and less. I would gain followers and get less and less views. And it was like, okay, this is not making any sense. And so then the followers, before, when I would get up, it would be like 200 new followers every night, and then all of a sudden it was like none or one. And those ones are, I go in and follow probably 5 or 10 people a day, and I'm getting one to come, and so then I was like, man, and then whatever they've done with my algorithm right now, and it's not even just mine, because I have the people coming into my comments like, what the hell are you, crazy lady? What the hell are you talking about? And people think I swear to God, you say things like, there's even a guy who this person emails me and messages me constantly all day long. It sent me pictures and stuff like that. And yesterday I said something that was outside of their thing, and I don't know. To me, it wasn't like an overreaction. It was like, I don't know. Sometimes I think that people can get caught up in something and they're really not hearing what you're saying or something. And when you start talking about God like I do, it is very unsettling for people who are very Christ, Jesus is coming, and God, the Almighty God, is watching us and judging us, and God is preparing hell for us. Hellfire is coming, like they get very like, and so, when I'm saying, yeah, I'm not a God over someone else, but there's no God over me. I understand my connection to all things, and there is no thing over the other things. All together in unity, we are the creation, and the creation is of the Creator, is the fractal of all things. Like, so, there is no holy spirit that is standing up in judgment over us, and that is completely, to me, is complete perspective of how it is that you understand existence. And to me, we're in this period of time of expansion, so you may not have that same perspective once you go through this. You may think like there's this God standing over you in judgment who hates its own creation, and it just wants to go back to the drawing block all the time. But that is probably more of because that's where we're at in physical reality, in a place like that. It isn't because of God. Like, I don't know. It just weirds me out, like how people are so, because people get really, really mad about the people who say, I'm a God. Like, and to me, you're hearing differently than what they're saying. Because when I hear somebody say, I'm a God, they're talking about that they have the realization that God is inside of them. And if God is inside of them, therefore they are a part of God, and they are a God. That is them as a, when you understand your soul, then you understand that you are in all senses of reality of what we consider to be a god. You are that. You may not be, sitting there like throwing lightning bolts over at someone else and can affect them, but you affect everything with your own attitude and who you are. What you bring to the table affects all things. And so being aware of your own energy, your own what you're putting out, is vital to you being aware of who and what you are. I mean, I know it's a part of this awakening is the people who are tapped into the dark energy and think that they are of the light and that they aren't. And, because you're not going inside and going through that way. You're going from the outside. And so you're being misled. But, when you tell people like, there is no God over me, they get so motherfucking offended. Like how dare you? And another thing on top of that is, even if you think that how dare I, then why can't you just be like, okay, well, she's just lost to, she's condemned to hell now, so we don't need to worry about her, she's gone. Why wouldn't it be that kind of attitude? Like, why would it be so like this crazy, I'm gonna go in and start fucking saying Jesus' name and God, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Man, I swear to God, if you went on my TikTok and looked through the comments, how many times fucking somebody is Jesus? It's like, dude, like what in the hell? And this was also, man, just the hypocrisy in our society. Why everything has to be shown, because the fucking world is full of hypocrites. This one was, so there's this girl, and I don't know her name. I'd heard about her, when I was still a progressive liberal person. I had heard about her, but it was pretty close to when I had switched. And so when I had heard about her, it was, I don't know, I think, what is that other one's name? That blonde one. She used to drive me fucking crazy. She was conservative, always out talking, and just really opinionated and outspoken. And I just thought she was so annoying. And I haven't even seen her in a long while. I can't remember her name though. I swear to God, it seemed like she got on a show or something, like started becoming one of their people, like they would talk to. But this one was one of those like conservative public girls, and this one was a college girl, I'm pretty sure, and she would go around talking to different people, and so she brings controversy wherever she goes. And there was some point where people started sharing this picture of her, and this is what someone may have heard of, this picture, and be able to figure out who this I'm talking about, because she was supposedly a picture of her in college where she was drunk and passed out and pooped her pants, and it's from the behind of her laying face down. Like, I don't even think you can see her face. Like, and then the whole butt and all that is just, tons of poop all over the place. So that picture was going around all over, and everybody was saying that was her. And to me, it was like, yeah, but how do you know? And besides, like, I mean, haven't we all done some pretty horrible things? Like, we don't want horrible things that we've done being brought up for the whole world to judge us. Like, why would we do that to someone if we don't want that done to us? So I don't know, those things always kind of give me like a kind of feeling. But so she's still been out there, but this was a clip of her, this progressive guy coming and attacking her, and he's just so on script, and everything she says, he just keeps trying to make it fit, and it doesn't, and it's so obvious that he's just talking nonsense and has no idea, and she keeps trying to get him to say, well, explain, and he can't. And then as soon as he gets to one part, then it's all of a sudden just skip back around. Well, Trump, well, you like Trump, so you're a racist. We'll explain how that works. And so Joe said this and this and this, so you support him, so that means you are. And and it's like, man, these people, they just cannot see their own hypocrisy. Even the person who was showing the clip was like, what is up with these people? It's like, we can see them and they can't see themselves. I've been saying that and saying that. It's trippy. It's so trippy that you can see right through somebody and they'll just sit there and keep talking like they are completely, they don't see it. But that is what I've been saying this whole motherfucking time, is that all of a sudden they will see. The mirror will be directly in front of them. Even if they keep trying to dodge it, the mirror's trying to get in front of them, they're dodging it. No, I've got an agenda. I've got to complete my agenda. I've got to show each racist out here, I'm like, it's so weird. Especially, videos I've seen of the people who are black speaking about this crime that has just happened. Even CNN is trying to make it about race and stuff like that. And so many people are talking about that with different perspectives, but there's so many black people that are like, there's so much hate in the black community. We're killing ourselves. There's no reason to be blaming anybody. And this one girl, she was saying, the only time she's ever had any problem with anybody, it's never been a white person. It's never been a white cop. It's always been a black cop or a black person who has been her biggest problems. And so she's saying we are the problem to ourselves. And she was going through it. Like, she had a really good thing that she was saying. And, I don't know, because I've seen some other ones, and I don't know, there's a lot of battling in the black community over some of this stuff, they want to keep the tension going, but that is, that's kind of MK Ultra stuff. That's just mind control, because when you start rationally looking at things and seeing, it's just, just got to see through stuff and let it go, let it go, let it go. And there was another thing that came into my head while I was talking about that. That was, that one guy. Oh, there was this. I don't know, but I haven't seen anything else about the earthquakes over in California, which I keep wondering, like, oh my God, is there more earthquakes? Man, and this storm coming in, like, is this going to be it for Louisiana and Texas? Now, they have put out new legislation is passed or something. And so now in their ingredients, on all their packaging, food, makeup, every package, that it has to have on there. So no GMOs, blah, blah, blah. No, contains fetal, the whole removed. We're going to use the leftovers, get you to crave things using the kidneys and all that kind of gross stuff. So now they have to put it on there. The woman who was talking about it was just like, oh my God. Like, when you start finding out, like, these people who are all pro-life, it's like, dude, you just don't know what's going on. Like, I used to be all, pro-choice. Because I used to be pro-choice. I'm like, I wasn't going to make the choice, but I sure the hell wasn't going to tell somebody else. It's like, I don't have the right to tell somebody what to do. And so everybody should have their own choices to make. It's between them and their maker. Nothing to do with me. And so, that was my take on it. And then once I started seeing the big business and the corporate stuff going on, then that is what changed my attitude. Like, that's some bullshit. Like, this is some corporate bullshit. And it is fucking disgusting. And so, yeah, I became, isn't like, I guess you would say, I don't know. Because I still, if some lady came up to me and said, I wouldn't go like, you're stupid, you're going to hell. It'd be like, I'd feel bad for them. But, I don't know their life journey. I don't know their soul contracts and stuff like that. I don't know what they're supposed to, their purpose and stuff is, and what they're here to learn and who they're here to learn it with. So I don't have a say over any of that stuff. Another thing, man, these things keep popping in. Well, I'm saying something else, I gotta try and see. Because it was something with, oh yeah, the rabbis. Like, there has been so many arrests. Oh my God. That's one thing. Like, and they are just the kind of arrests where it's just like, where, you know, like those are the absurd things. Those are the things, like, you're not going to be able to get away from the truth. It's going to be knocking people down. 17 rabbis that have been involved for over 10, I think one had been doing it, maybe even 19 years. I don't know, you can look it up. But and their big thing was not just the trap, but the organ, because that's the big money, is, you know, getting somebody who's down and out and then, you know, selling their stuff, parting them out. It's big money, you know, and our people will pay big money for certain things. And it always, you know, it's all this ethical thing, because there's a market. Like, it isn't just these people. If there was no market, there would be none of it going on, you know. And the whole thing is like, and then plus the leaders of your ethical and moral fiber, really? And that's what they're doing? And this is who you follow? This is who you dedicate your solidarity to Christ through these men who are doing these things? Because, you know, they see a need and then they're like all about it. You would think a man of God would be trying to talk to people and, you know, it will be okay. Dying isn't scary. Dying is not a scary thing. You're just going to pass into another reality. You can always come back here if you want. Most people just hang out with their family until their families pass and stick around the people that are important to them. Not only do they do it just because it feels good, I think, for them, but also is because the people who are left behind hold their energy so tight, especially for a while. Like, I still hold on to Lucy's, you know, I still hold on to Lucy's energy. And, you know, that is, so we bind these spirits to us. We bind them, like, by holding on and not letting go, and realizing, like, you know, as soon as I pass, I'll see them all again. I'm just still in the game. I'm still playing the game. Like, and it's not even about winning the game, because each person just comes in to play a part, and the part only has a certain amount of time. It's not like, you know, it's never ending. And that's where it gets so weird, how these people, like, are so freaked out to die that you start taking other people's lives so that you can continue to have yours, and then putting all of these parts in. And then the parts, like, when they tell people don't even eat beef or chicken or all of these animals that are being treated badly and massacred, that energy goes into the food. And even, I mean, now for how much stuff is coming out with the cancer and stuff, and they just cut it out and just, you know, it's like part of the steak. They just cut that part out and sell the steak. And so it's so disgusting. And the disease and stuff. And so all of that disease and all of that energy is, that's, you know, be aware of that. But then go and put a kidney or a lung or an eyeball or whatever all the fucking hell these people are constantly putting in, and then you're taking it where that energy, and then you're putting that inside of you. Like, I don't even want their remote control shit inside of me. I don't like if I hear another person yelling inside my head. I don't like them coming at me with these high-pitched frequencies and attacking me. Like, I don't like any of that stuff. I don't like that when I'm up next to my phone that I can fucking feel my feelings. Not my feelings, my fillings. Like, my fillings hurt, they ache. And I wonder how much fucking metal do I still have in my mouth. I swear to God, I cannot wait for these fucking med pens. Like, I can't even believe how irritated I get with myself just over the fucking implants. and just being like, oh my God, I cannot believe I was so insecure. And now I've got these fucking rocks on my chest and I just want them off. And man, I just want to go back to my original body. It's so crazy too, where you sit there and like you have your original self, like your original hair, your original eye color, everything that is you. And then you're young and you're like, oh, this is wrong, that's wrong. You know, my hair's not blonde enough, it's not dark enough. It's like, pick a color. And then you got, there's so many different things. I mean, for me, when I was younger, I had just these, you know, chipmunk cheeks. And so that what made me so insecure. And my body, I was like so gangly and so, I don't know, like skinny, lanky looking, gangly looking and tall and just like that's what I always felt like. Like everybody would be gathered around and be all these cute girls with these cute little figures and gathered around talking, and here comes a lean down like trying to hear. I felt like some fucking ogre or something. And so, and you know, you just become super insecure, and then you try and like adapt. Like, you know, for me, the majority of these girls were all like, I don't know, back then it seemed like everyone was like 5'6" was tall, and I was 5'9.5" or 5'10". I don't know, one of my aunts told me I was 5'10.5". I don't know, I was way taller than everybody. And everybody, I swear to God, I really think when I would see someone else who was 5'6", they always were tall. So I always thought like I was really freakishly tall. And it's just so weird then as you go through, like, because now I look back and I'm just like, you know, why couldn't I love myself? Why couldn't I appreciate myself? Why couldn't I be like, man, that's pretty cool that I'm tall. Like, stand up and be proud of, you know what I mean? Like, but everything becomes an insecurity. You know, girls who have boobs, then you don't have any. It's like, oh, you know, I want some. Something's wrong with me. You know, and that's where all this whole thing comes with the trans community and stuff like that. God made a mistake. Something's wrong. You know, he should have done this. He should have made my nose a little rounder. He should have made my eyebrows a little bit more. You know what I mean? We start, you know, if he just would have done it this way, if he just would have made me this way, if I just would have been 2 inches shorter, I'd have been perfect. You know what I mean? We get all like in these kind of things, but then, you know, you get older and then it's like, man, I just would love to go back. You know, I know med beds are coming. Like, I know that all this technology is changing and all of this stuff. I mean, it just keeps happening and happening. Like, all of these things I've been saying for, I mean, I know I started talking out on here a couple years ago, but I was talking out to other people before that, because I've been talking about it since 2015 is when I started talking about it. And all of the things have been happening just like what they show me and tell me. Everything, you know, is the way that they show me and tell me. It always has been, ever since I was little. They've always, so, you know, and it's funny too, because I have the hardest time is trusting in my own life. That is always my hardest time, because I'm always like, am I just saying things that I want to be? Am I saying this because I want it to be this way, or am I really being honest with myself? And that is always where I have the hardest time with those voices. That's why there's so much of my stuff I just gotta be like, well, it's gonna happen the way it's gonna happen. I don't, you know, I'm just gonna happen the way it's gonna happen. That's just the way life is. Everything is gonna happen the way it's gonna happen. But you know, but that's in the small details, you know. It's like I knew, like, all of these, there would be central places that are going to be really horrible, you know, things going on. And it has been the whole time. I mean, and Memphis, like right now, there's another one down by Memphis. So it seems like Kentucky, Georgia is having a lot going on, and Tennessee, like all down in that whole certain area, which to me, you know, probably carried a lot of intense energy during, for sure, during slavery and stuff like that. But it is those the battle of the two wills. It's the light and dark. It's the battle that they have been in that area. And so it may not be playing out exactly the same, but that energy is rising to go in another direction. And so it is going to be bringing everything to the surface in those areas. And so, you know, I mean, it's not shocking at all that there would be this horrible hate crime done by their own people on each other during this time, because it's what people have to see. Like, they have to gain perspective. They have to start looking at things in a bigger way. And this one too, this girl, a blue hair, I mean, she may even had purple. She may have had a mix of purple, blue, and red. I don't know. One of the people with those hairdos and the crazy glasses and the face things and all that stuff. And she was talking about how, man, it's the way that they talk and stuff. It's like, oh my God, like, I get where you're coming from, but come on. So she was talking about going to a yoga class and the cultural appropriation. She's just like, oh, these people, they really get stuck on this cultural appropriation. They really, really have to make sure all Black people, all cultures, know that they don't think of themselves as being over. As a matter of fact, since they're white, they think of themselves as being more of the dirt on the ground and are ashamed of themselves. I don't know if you can hear the wind outside. It has been going like crazy. Like last night, it was fucking so creepy. Right now, you can't even see it because, I mean, you're out, when you look out the window, it's too dark right now, but the trees, they're blowing and just knowing how they're so dead. It's like, oh my God, I'm gonna have a fucking heart attack. And so it's been going all last night, and then plus it was supposed to be like in the 30s or something, maybe even like 37. You open it, I'm telling you, it feels like an Arctic blast has blown in since yesterday. It is so motherfucking cold. And I know what they're doing. Like, fuck, I know what they're doing. This cold, this hot, this fucking wind. And, oh man, just, ugh, so intense. So intense. But anyways, the, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so the cultural appropriation. So she's going through this whole breakdown. You know, it's all white people in the class. Then they're even playing music that is just too stereotypical Middle Eastern. I don't know, she was just going through the whole thing, saying all this stuff, and, you know, and throwing in a lot of white shame. Like, you know, she's very embarrassed about being white. She's very ashamed of herself, and we really got to pass this information on, because this is cultural appropriation. This isn't a religious practice. I mean, they don't even do anything or say anything. It's like, girl, yoga class is like fast food. Like, yeah, it's just, yeah, it's not, you're not going in there to have some, like, I get so much more out of it doing it by myself. Like I've talked about before, when you have someone in the class telling you when to breathe, telling you when to stretch, you're not listening to your body, you're listening to the person who's doing it. If you understand what yoga is about, it's the practice, the chi, all of these things. This isn't cultural appropriation. This is getting in contact with you at your core. And so, yeah, you go to a class and someone's saying, okay, she's going to town, breathe now. I feel like I gotta yell, talk over her. Breathe, stretch, do this, do that, like, because in the real thing, it is tuning into your body. So you go into your body. So like doing yoga alone by yourself is going to give you so much more. Going to a class is like kind of a show off. Yeah, I got a yoga class. Yeah, I'm in my yoga class, which is good too, because I mean, it's still a positive thing to do, to go in and do those, but you're still going to get in tune with your body, but it's not going to be the same. It's like a guided meditation over doing, you know, just beginning to meditate for yourself. So, and all things are practices. Like I was doing well, my yoga class was, because I had that private yoga person. That's where I was learning a lot about yoga, because we were doing a trade. I was tattooing her, and she was doing yoga for me. And then I invited some more people. We even did some at the park outdoors, and so it was just a small group. And so I was learning a lot about yoga. And even this girl, she keeps saying, yeah, they keep calling it, what was it, a practice? There is a word that they say all the time, but when you go and you understand what it is, and like, there's somebody who like called themselves a yogi, and the people got all offended or something. Anybody who practices yoga is a yogi. And so, like, all these things that they get offended about, stuff that they don't know about. It's like, just because you're white doesn't mean that you're not allowed to do anything. Like, come on. Like, you know, I mean, our genetics came from all of these different people and stuff. So we have all these different things inside of us. It's up to us to want to get in touch with it. And it's just so crazy how these people are all, well, I'm white. I'm white, so I'm not allowed. It's culturally appropriate. It's not like, you know, I mean, if you're going and putting on like geisha makeup, and you're white and you're going around with a geisha robe or something and pretending to be a geisha, maybe you're culturally appropriating, but you have no business doing it. But going and doing yoga and then making all this whole thing about that, it was like, man, girl, you gotta start like enjoying some things. You gotta start really trying to understand some things. It's like she wanted to make it a political no, we need to start, you know, going out and protesting about yoga, like, in the cultural appropriations happening here. But I mean, really, when you do the stuff, when you do the practices, the chi, the yoga, all of that stuff in your own home, and you tune into your body, you listen to what your body stretches into, you go into your own stretch, you go into your own breath work, you go into your own meditation. That's what this whole thing about we need to all get together and do it in a class and stuff, that's the thing that puts it off. And it's not to say that we shouldn't have giant groups of people out doing yoga together. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with somebody leading it. But you should still be tuning into your body and following your own script rather than the commentator, the one who's speaking you through it. That is more for people who are just trying to learn, I think, because you just listen to yourself. Like, nobody else can tell you when to breathe and how far to stretch and stuff. Like, that's up to you and your body. So anyways, you know, there's, I don't know, like, it's part of the whole thing about people keep themselves cut off in this limiting kind of mindset of how to keep things like very divided. The white people are allowed to do this, the Middle Easterns are allowed to do this, the Chinese are allowed to do this, like the Latins are allowed to do this. It's like, what? Oh, and this was also because now you have some biracial people are saying like, hey, I'm not black and I'm not white. I'm a new thing. I'm a biracial. I'm both things. And yeah, you aren't a one thing or another. You are something new, something different. And, you know, people are just got to start seeing, like, you are a whole bunch of different things. You're unique. You're here for purpose. You have got all sorts of other lives and other parts of yourself in your DNA. Your soul carries so much more than just this representation of who you are presently. And people get so caught up in who they are presently that they can't even adapt them, allow themselves to be more than what they are labeled as. And, what was that? Yeah, that was something about the labels and the ICD-9 codes and stuff. Now stuff is starting to come out about that. Like, people are starting to put that together. Like, because ICD-9 codes and stuff was developed, I mean, it's so that they can label us, so that we can have a diagnosis. I've got a diagnosis code. Everything that falls under that diagnosis. People don't even understand how those diagnoses will come back and kick you in the ass. You change insurance. Oh, you have a diagnosis code? Well, we can't insure you for that. So, you know, people think that these things are good things, like, oh, they're doing this for us, they're doing that for us. No, they're not doing anything for you. They're doing everything for them. And everything that you allow them to do for them is taking from you. And if you don't feel something's being taken from you, you're cut off from yourself. You're just cut off from yourself. You've got to be tuned into yourself and recognize what you're losing. And, one thing too, like, there's so many things going on in, like, all these different places, like Canada, France, all these places with all these, right here we are out there marching in the streets, just like George Floyd all over again. Like, oh my Lord, have mercy. Like, and out there, because CNN said it's racist. You got them out there. Racist is so racist. It's like, okay. So you have people out there who are marching for change. You've got people here who are marching for, I don't know, violence. And I don't know, just to me, it's like, well, we feel like we're doing something. It's misdirected. Because what do we really need to do? We really need to break free. We need to break free from their system. We need to stop being dependent. We need to start becoming more unified in communities and creating our own environment. And that is a whole lot of different things. And that's what people have to be leaning towards. It doesn't matter. We don't have to go out and march in the streets and do all that. We need to abandon their streets. Just leave their streets empty. It's, to me, it's just so simple. It's so simple. And people, but the whole thing is people want to hold on to what is here. They think that they can control it. They can keep what we always had. That time is over. It's done. It's over. It's the end of an age. I just saw this woman. She's going through all this stuff. Like, all this stuff is going on. Blah, 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 blah. And I don't understand. Like, why is this happening now? Like, why is all this happening right now? It's because it's the changing of an age. It's the changing of the ages. It's a reset. It's cosmic. It occurs every 28,000 years or whatever the time. Like, it is a set thing. This is up. The people, like, well, if we go out and we march, and then, we can keep this, we can keep that. And yesterday, Trump came on, and he was talking like it was all about election and stuff like that, and this person was like, oh my God, is that about to be president again? I'm like, oh, well, he already is. And then it was like, what? I was like, yeah, he already is. That's already, and I said a couple things, and then they didn't say anything. But, it's just that, just watch and see. Things are about to change. And, Joe's going down. Joe's a fucking criminal as motherfucking shit. And, I mean, Nancy, all this fucking insider trading, all this stuff. The 911 call, now that the new footage being released, it looks like they went in and just did a quick little home movie or something. Like, we got this one part, and then all of a sudden it switches. And I don't know. I mean, everything is just so fake, and it's all being exposed. But the way people just hold on to it, and they want to hold on to the past. They want things to go back to the way they were. And that's all about, like, loss. It's like the same thing as, like, when your family dies, like somebody in your family dies, and you just want to go back. You just want to go back to where you were. Go back to a time of being happy. Go back in a time when you were spending time with them. You just want to go back. And that is what, you've got all these people, they just want to go back. But you gotta let go. Gotta let go. And then, yeah, it can look scary what's ahead. But, and it's gonna probably go through some scary parts. Like, I mean, it's just sitting here, it's stressful as shit, with this wind and knowing all of these different disasters are happening everywhere, and knowing, like, and I know how dangerous the trees are. Like, and there's another absurd thing. Like, in Arkansas, I think it was, a Denny's sign fell in the parking lot. Like, a car was parked, and the two people were sitting in their car, and the sign fell off of the street lamp up above them, fell onto their car, killed them, And then Denny's just went and put the sign back up with some ratchet stuff, and is completely ignoring it, not giving any money to the people, not apologizing, nothing. And this is a community that's paying attention. See how a community is starting to see, like, oh, it's this corporation that we support. We all go up here and eat, but they don't support us. They don't care about us. They're just there for the buck. They don't care about your community. They don't care about you. They don't care about individuals. And so she was just like outraged, like they had to put a GoFundMe account. Denny's is just totally being quiet. But, you know, I mean, I've seen other things where trees falling on cars and trees falling on people. Like, all this stuff just keeps going and going and going. And all of this stuff is just going to keep being more and more crazy. So, you know, but we're in this time of change, no matter what. And we're in a time of evolution. And the evolution is realizing that you can't die. They can't kill you. They can't do anything to you. It's all an illusion. You know, we're in a game. That's all it is. We're in this game. And then also yesterday, I felt like we had a big breakthrough here. So I feel really, I don't know, we'll see. When somebody starts saying like they want to detox and they want to cleanse and stuff like that, that's exciting to me. It's like, yeah, because everybody's got to take control of their health. This system wants to destroy your health. You have to be the one who cares about your health. And that's what I keep trying to get across to everybody, is that, man, I don't even know if anybody can hear her, but she is really snoring loud. She's snoring hard and loud. Anyways, but everybody has got to make these decisions for themselves. You've got to recognize, like, this is abusive. Like, you know, don't go support fucking Denny's. Don't go support fucking Walmart. Don't go support any of these corporations that are destroying your communities and destroying our ways of life. We can run them out by boycotting them, by stop buying their shit. We don't need their stuff. So, you know, to me, it seems so simple to make these changes, but people they would rather have Walmart and just have Walmart be nicer to their employees. It's way bigger than that. Way bigger than that. It's like, you know, you got 17 rabbis that are, you know, using people's body parts to finance their lifestyle. Like, man, and it just more and more just keeps coming out on all these different groups. Like, Jesus Christ, the people it's all going to be the most outrageous stuff. Like, is going to be like, we'll get to the stuff that is more boring, but that first we got to have all the outrageous stuff that, like, whoa, can you believe that? And then, you know, it's going to go into trial, like some of these, like the 17 rabbis, like that'll be a trial, like, okay, they're going on trial and we're going to follow this. And, you know, that's where you're going to start seeing what the outcome is. Because the outcome is written. And even when the outcome is written in those executive orders, they also added in new, I'm pretty sure, because it was the injection. I think the humane things that most of the prisons were down to. I think mostly injection. There was still some. I don't think anybody really does gas chamber electric chair anymore. That used to be a thing when I was younger. Hanging was the big one for a long time. And then they decided, like, a gas chamber, that would be, like, better. Electric chair, that would be better. And then in the injection. But he brought back the firing squad, so that's a pretty old one. That's, I think, military kind of. But so he brought that one back. Okay, all this stuff wasn't by accident. Like, there's going to be some rabbis, there's going to be some doctors, there's going to be some nurses, there's going to be some lawyers, there's going to be some judges. There's going to be all sorts of people. This woman, she was just going over the flight logs, and so she had all of them. Like, she's got them all, and some are blacked out, some are this. So she's cross-referencing, looking shit up and stuff. And so this person's name, who they are hiding, she found them. She found who they were and stuff like that. And she was showing, and this person is a rich pilot who owns private jet company. So, and they're hiding them. And these people are, so, or people just think, oh, there's one flight log. A lot of those people who were on those flight logs have their own planes. If they want to go there, they can get themselves there. They didn't have to go on his plane. And then that's not even counting the submarines. That's not even counting all the surrounding islands that they go and hang out on and take a little, what are those little, you take one of those little motorboat things, little skipper or scuffer or whatever they're called. Take one of those over to another island. Like, you don't, like, I don't know. I think people are way too caught up in the flight logs. And besides the fact that I think there's people on there who got invited to come. Oh, yeah, come over. We're having a big old party. Everybody's invited. Yeah, we're picking up a bunch of people. Get on the plane. Come on over. Yeah, sign in. Get on. Get over there. And then start seeing like, ooh, this is not my jam. Like, this place is like, ugh. And I think, in some of the bigger parties, I think enough people have come out and said, in a bigger party, it's just like a big party. I mean, you don't want to go walk around and go into the wrong room. That's where you get yourself in trouble. And you don't want to be where they're trying to get you in a certain room. So, a lot of people who were on the flight logs was like invited to a party. And that doesn't mean that they were all involved in the rituals and stuff like that. Like, but that will all come out in the trials. And those are going on right now. I'm sure that there's people who are in there, testifying against other people. Like, I mean, there's a reason why stuff is coming out about Madonna right now. Like, man, that woman is weird looking. She looks like, oh my gosh. She used to be cute too, back in the 80s. Yeah, but I saw a documentary movie thing about her. It was recently too. It was a movie about a different musician. It was like a biopic about a different musician, but they, it could have just even been a total documentary, but it was a different musician, and they had sang with her. So they had done music with her. So she was being brought up in this thing, a lot of stuff about her. And she was very opportunistic. Like, she didn't give a fuck. She just wanted to be famous. So, and there's a lot of those people out there, they don't give a fuck. I just want to be famous. I'll do what you say. Just make me famous. She was one of them. Like, she was very, she was kind of like generic or something. Then they, make a persona. I think they do that with all these ones. Katy Perry, Ariana Grande, all of these, they make a persona. And what's another thing that's kind of strange that's going around is these people who, like Julia Roberts or Reese Witherspoon, and showing their pictures of their kids with them. And like, my one daughter has a daughter who looks exactly like her. Well, I don't know. There's some similarities, there's some differences. Very different in their height, and their body style is very different. But the, I don't know. Some of these, I'm just like, man, are these people carrying their own clones? Like, what in the hell goes on in this seedy world of celebrity? Like, there's so much more going on, I think. Just with all of the cloning and all of it, it has to do with, they want to make money. If something's working, they want to make money off of it. And I just saw this other movie. This was totally, this guy was really into watching supernatural ghost movies. But this one had this girl in it, and she looked so much like some other girl who was famous. Like, this girl's like 15, and she looks like somebody who, that age, looked exactly like her, who's now like 25 or something. They do this, like, a certain thing works, they just bring it back around. And then, and I really think, like, they have these social climbers, like, like Madonna, like, whatever, I just want to be famous, do whatever, I don't care, just make me famous, and not really. It isn't about the art. It isn't about the music. It isn't about, what they're trying to do something good in the world or leave a legacy. All they want to do is be worshipped, like that they're something special. Because they feel, to me, the reason that you would feel like you needed other people to worship you is because you feel so bad about yourself. You just feel so down on yourself that you feel like, well, if somebody else likes me, maybe I can like me too. And so, you know, I mean, there's going to be a lot of that kind of stuff. So I don't want to sit there and say like somebody's evil because they want to be loved. Like, what's evil about wanting to be loved? It's misled, it's misguided, and the whole setup is to use you. Like, that's all this system is to do. Anybody just use you, use you, use you. And the Hollywood, the whole thing, it just, man, it became as out of control as anything. I think so much creepy stuff is going to come out on the disclosure of Hollywood with whatever it is, with these gene therapy or gene manipulation that's going on in order to create a product that works. And then, man, and then if something doesn't work, do they just discard it? Like, well, you know, it worked for that group of people. It's not working for this one. And then sometimes I even, watching an old movie, I'll be like, oh my God, so-and-so looks exactly like this person. How long have they been doing this? Like, I don't know. There's just a little weird stuff with that whole thing. But, you know, again, I just think people just get so caught up. And I don't even understand it. Like, on some of these things, they just get very, very caught up in things. It's like, man, people just got to step back, you know, and start looking at things in a deeper, broader, more open-minded perspective to really understand. And you know what? It's very limiting to sit here and think like, oh, all of Hollywood, they're all demons. All of, you know, all of this, just so much generalization. And God, the one and only God, one and only. There's only one, and there's a certain group of people, and they know him, but the rest of us don't. And if you are not on that group, then, you know, yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I've been already talking a long time, but you know, I'm not seeing any things about the California, the West Coast. I'm just seeing the storm that is going to be hitting into the South, and all of the chaos. I think there's probably riots in Seattle and Portland. I think there's probably riots in all of the different cities, which is going to lead straight into murder, man, all of the stuff. It's just going to keep going, and people just keep going and playing along. Well, it's real important. I got to get out there. I got to go out and march and say, yeah, Tyrene, justice. And then it's all fixed. It's all fixed because I've sent my prayers and thoughts and I've marched in the street. Like, that's not making change, people. You want change, you got to make change. You got to be change. That's how we get change. Got to change some shit. So, anyways, that's my take on it. So, I'll talk to you later. Bye.